Hello and welcome to PoE For Dummies, shrines, or as we like to call them, buffs. For this video, I will explain what shrines are. They are basically mini shrines that give you different sorts of buffs. They have an icon above them, what they give, and they are guarded by some monsters. Sometimes those monsters are rogue exiles, sometimes those monsters are regular monsters, sometimes you'll see tormented spirits, and so on. These shrines can appear randomly in a map, or if you have modifiers on Atlas passive skill tree, they can appear more, and certain shrines can appear as well. Now, to give you an example of shrines, as this is a shorter mechanic to show and longer to explain, this is how it looks in a map. You will randomly encounter this symbol, which is Oriath's symbol if I'm not mistaken, and you will see in just a jiffy how they are guarded by monsters. You can see the amount of monsters here, and you can see the symbol of the shrine, what it gives, and the effect that it does around it. This one is Freezing Pulse Shrine, so it's pulsing freezing. When you click it, you will get its effect. If you have a modifier, you can also accrue an additional shrine effect as well. And while the effect lasts, if you enter a mechanic like Alva as an example, there's a timer, of course, you will see that I have Pulsating Frost, well, when I'm not exploding enemies, Pulsating Frost around my character that deals cold damage and gives chill. Basically, that's one of the shrines you can encounter in a map. There are many others. You will see lightning shrines, you will see fire shrines, and so on. I think there is fire shrine, if I'm not mistaken. But lightning shrines, definitely. Here is a list of all the shrines you will find. This one is a healing shrine. It gives you like life, health regen, and mana regen, and so on. You have acceleration shrine, brutal, and so on. You can read all of these modifiers because there are plenty. You will learn what they do. You can either mouse over the buff, as with any buff in the game or a debuff in the game. You can mouse over them and you can read what they do. But a very big warning for a few shrines. Echoing Shrine and Divine Shrine. Echoing Shrine is your skills are repeated. It gives you more attack, cast speed, and skills repeat an additional time. So skills echo. That includes movement skills. Be careful. If you do a dash once, flame dash, it will do an immediate flame dash. So from here, you will basically go twice where you have the mouse pointer, or you can just, it can be like this. That will happen with one button press, one. So it will do an echo. If you do an arrow shot, toof toof, that's how it will shoot. Be very warned, this can cause silly things to happen. I've had things happen to me as well. Just be careful with an echoing shrine. You can, of course, always right click the buff away. So right click the buff away, not some of these like focused buffs, but you can right click the buff away and it will disappear. So once again, like life tap, right click and it will disappear. So keep that in mind. If you don't want the shrine buff, right click it off. Now, the next one, Divine Shrine. The problem with Divine Shrine is cannot be damaged. So it gives an AoE circle around the shrine where monsters cannot be damaged. I think that's silly, because to click the shrine, you have to go through a certain amount of monsters that are all hanging around the shrine to be able to click it. It's a very difficult endeavor, especially if you don't have phasing that makes you move through monsters. And if those are melee monsters, good luck. The mechanic by itself is really fun, but for Divine Shrine, I recommend attacking the monsters. They're invulnerable. Move back. They will move away from the AoE radius of the shrine. And once you have a clear path, dash in, click the shrine, and enjoy being invulnerable for solid amount of time, from 20 to 60 seconds or even longer if you have modifiers. So those are the two shrines I would pay a lot of attention to. There are, of course, some shrines that may not even affect your character at all. If you have Resolute Technique, an ability, well, a passive point that makes you able to hit, but you cannot crit. All hits are critical strike shrines is basically worthless. Now, shrines can appear in different areas. They can appear in labs, labs in maps, and in labs in a regular map. They can appear in Valside areas. They can appear in regular maps. They can appear in unique maps. They just have a random chance to spawn. Now, because they are buffs, they are helpful to players in most cases, but how do we get them? How do we enhance them, and what are their passives? So for shrines are quite a simple mechanic here, really. There's a few wheels for them. There's 3 wheels. The first one on the bottom, increase duration of shrine effects on players in your maps. That's very simple. Now, your maps contain an additional shrine. This gives you at least 1 shrine in a map. At least 1. As I said before, shrines are always guarded. Now, this wheel gives maps have 10% chance to contain an additional shrine and 20% increased effect of shrine buffs. If you have 100% more, that will be 120% more, so increased effect. Now, this one is 30% increased effect of shrine buffs on players in your maps. Shrines in your maps grant a random additional shrine effect. That's what you saw in the video. I got the freezing shrine and I got a resistance shrine, if I'm not mistaken. So when it comes to this, you want to pick it up and you will get increased effect and extra effect too. Now, when it comes to shrines in your maps, drawn to power, have 50% chance to be guarded by an additional pack of monsters. Shrines in your maps are guarded by at least 1 magic pack. This basically gives you, instead of like 2 or 3 packs of monsters, this gives you 1 extra, well, chance to get 1 extra pack, and there's at least one magic pack, which are blue monsters with 1 or 2 modifiers. And the last but not least is domination. So your maps have chance to contain additional shrine. Yeah, the mechanic is called domination. So that's 30% additional chance. And all that glitters is gold. Shrines in your maps have 10% chance to be a covetous shrine. That's a special shrine. On monsters, Covetous Shrine's aura increases quantity and rarity of dropped items and reduces damage taken. On players, Covetous Shrine's buff increases quantity and rarity of items found and increases damage taken. For exact numbers, you can see them here. 15% quantity, 50% rarity, but you take 20% more damage from any source. That's basically it. There are some items that enhance the level of shrines, that create shrines, and so on. The Gull being the biggest one. Trigger level 1, create lesser shrine when you kill an enemy. So for shrines, I would recommend you actually picking them up. They are really good. And there are some special ones from Sextants. You can have a Gloom Shrine, which is gain non-chaos damage as extra chaos, and they have a high chance to explode. And Resonating Shrine, which gives you charges, power, frenzy, and endurance charges on kill. Now, this is, as I said, a short mechanic that you can see in your maps, a bit longer to explain because there are some dangerous things. Oh, and there's also one more thing. If you want to lab run and you find a shrine in a lab, be careful if it's an acceleration shrine. If you reach a certain movement speed, the game's engine cannot handle, or the game server cannot handle it, and it can disconnect you. But other than that, that's it for shrines. That's a third mechanic in 4 videos list. The third video, the last one being Val Temples. But as you are well aware by this point, Rogue Exile's Tormented Spirits can happen to guard a shrine, and of course you can have strong boxes. They cannot be around a shrine that often, but they can give you extra quantity and so on. There's no scarabs that appear for for domination mechanic, which is the shrine. And there's also one more thing, which is, if I'm not mistaken, for Shaping the Skies. It gives you extra shrines here, which you can get. I don't know if that's written here, but that's extra content that you can get. Or for map device, it gives you 3 additional shrines, and it's called dominate. Oh, there it is. Sorry, can be applied to maps, 1 craft remaining because I have a free one. Area contains 3 additional shrines, and that will go in the regular crafting one, that's here. 10% chance to complete your maps to gain a free use of random map crafting option. So that will be it for shrines, a short and simple mechanic, which is very enjoyable. Pick it up if you want extra experience, pick it up if you want extra shenanigans and lovely stuff on your maps. But if you've liked the video, please give it a like. If you have any comments, feel free to post them down below. I will put all the links as usual in every video. Don't worry about that. If you want to sub, please do so. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next PoE for Dummies video.